Hey there folks, this is Aaron here from evacstation, here to remind you that if you like this podcast, if you like these movie podcasts we're doing, whether it's going to be this show or upcoming Ringside Ramble show, we hope that you donate some money to our Patreon. Any little bit will help us out and get more shows like that onto our network, and even make the quality of the shows you're listening to right now even better. And, you know, that's a good thing. You want better shows. I want better shows. And I want more time to work on those shows. So go on to Patreon right now and donate a little bit today. And we'd appreciate that. Thank you very much. Hello, Internet, and welcome to the After Credits Cast. I heard an ominous rumor. It said that a podcast about movies had been evacuated from beneath the dregs of YouTube, where it had been sleeping, and it was hosted by Lord Ryupa Metters.
Wish I was Mito, but that's okay.
I know.
Everybody wants to be Mito.
I could have done Ryan Mito. That would have been alright. I could have done that. And then, it wasn't a good one for me, so I went with Arabelle Waseska. And we don't have Nausicaa with us today, but trust me.
Damn it! Why does he always miss the ones that, like, he has the best names for?
He does have the best ones when he's not around.
Derp.
But welcome to, I guess, the inaugural, the first of the Studio Ghibli. This will probably actually go up in airing order first. We've recorded a couple of the ones already, but our schedule's a little bit wonky this year, or this season. You'll see. Anyway, so this week, yes, we were talking about the first movie by the boys of Studio Ghibli, before Studio Ghibli even existed, and that is Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
Yay!
Before we get into that, though, Ryan, what you been watching?
What have I been watching? You know, I haven't been watching a crazy amount of stuff, but my friend, God bless him, bought the remastered version of Dark Souls, and we got drunk and were switching off on deaths at his house, so he managed to get me back into Dark Souls. So
I saw you jumping into that a little bit, actually, on Steam. What are you rolling as?
I got a pure quality build going. Just me and this +7 broadsword strolling through Blighttown, fucking people's days up.
Nice. Last game I played was going as a Dex build, and I struggled for a little bit, but then once I got I think it's not the Astora straight sword, but like it's a different straight sword you get from the dudes in the the cathedral area, the first cathedral area. Once I got one of those drops, and it's really hard to get, it takes a while, I was pretty much mowing down everything up until I want to say Ornstein Snows, where I started having trouble at, but then it kind of just got easy from there again, so.
Maybe the Boulder Side Sword?
That's what it is! I can never remember the name.
I got one of those as a random drop from one of them from the night. Yeah, so no, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, I remember why I kept the name wrong all the time, because I remember my buddy, who's more into this game than I was when I first got into it, he called it the Balder Swag Sword. Good shit.
Yeah, but that's what I've been quote-unquote watching. I've been watching myself die in Dark Souls. Like, why have I done this to myself?
Well, as for me, I have been watching movies for other podcasts we'll be launching ideally in August. I'm not going to give too many details away, but let's just say it's a shorter podcast with a lot of more silliness going on. Nicole and I are working on it, and I think y'all are going to love it. We had a lot of fun making it.
So y'all hurry up and sub. Do it.
I'm hoping to find a way to advertise that show really hardcore, because I want to make sure the work we're putting into it is like getting noticed, because, oh my god, it's so beautiful. But aside from that, though, I guess you could technically say I've been watching Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 3, because I started that up recently. I'm in the final chapter, and I like some of what it's doing, because there are some good ideas in it. I don't like a lot of the other stuff it's doing, because it's trying to do so much at once, and it doesn't seem very focused on any one idea. So, yeah, it's a mixed bag. I like it and don't like it. it's still not as good as the first season. I don't think anything's going to be, but that's just me. But with that, Ryan, should we kick into our movie this week?
Yeah, I'm down.
Alright, so let's go ahead and start off with a bit of a background here. This week, we are kicking off Studio Ghibli's Summer Slam with Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. This movie was released in 1984 in Japan. And it's star-studded cast for the English dub, featuring very famous voices like Mark Hamill, Patrick Stewart, Uma Thurman, Edward James Olmos, and Tris McNeely, to name a few. This movie won 3 awards. It won the Best Short Film at the Fanta Festival. I may have mistyped that one, I'm not sure now. I've got to just second-guess myself the whole time now. It won the Best Film at the Cinema Junpo Awards, and an Ofuji Noboru Award at the Mainichi Film Concours. Like I said earlier, it technically predates the creation of Studio Ghibli, bringing the talent that would eventually make the studio. And as a final fun fact for everybody, the original release in the States was titled Warriors of the Wind, and it features significant cuts to the film. And Ryan, you might be interested to hear some of these. These cuts include scenes like when Nausicaa first happens upon the dead Ohm at the beginning of the movie, and when we get the scene where we see her secret garden.
Wait, what? Why would you cut those?
Disney,
why?
That's Disney for you. So, yeah. Ryan, what'd you think of this movie?
I'm sorry, I'm just spitting on, 2 of the really fucking important scenes that Disney would decide to cut. Anyway, short answer, I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. It's such a wholesome movie. Like, it involves kingdoms and governments doing, like, really fucked up shit, but...
Oh, that never happens in real life, Ryan. What are you talking about?
Of course not. But in essence, it captures, like, all the good aspects of humanity into one person. Nausicaa is the perfect cinnamon roll. She is too good for this world. She is too pure. And I was low-key about to riot when I thought she died at the end of the movie. I was like, no! Because you get to that scene where all the Ohm are charging, and she lands with the baby, and she just stands in front of them, and you expect them to stop, and then they run right over her. I was like, no!
I kind of laughed at that moment at the same time, though, because it's so silly looking, but at the same time, it's like, oh man, they actually committed to this. Where's this going?
Yeah, because she just, like, bounces up, like, boop! I was like, oh shit, alright, no, fuck it, alright, everybody's dead. Humanity needs to be wiped off the face of the earth, we'll start again. But yeah, no, I really like it.
Well, my initial thoughts. While the animation is still very smooth and flowing, visually it does feel a bit more like a generic anime, given that it's also much older. So, I mean, it definitely feels like one of those older, more generic anime from back in the day.
Yeah, it definitely shows its age. It does. It's not good, but it definitely shows its age.
But you can definitely see a lot of what Studio Ghibli would eventually polish up and clean to improve by the time we get to something like Grave with the Fireflies, and I gotta admit, it is just nice to see their humble beginnings. It looks really good. It still looks really good, but you can definitely see the age with it, and I'm looking forward to seeing, now that we're kind of going in order, to see how they grow. I think Cast in the Sky, which we're doing next, definitely shows significant improvements, even if it's just a few of them,
It does, and I really like Miyazaki's penchant for world building. You could see he was having a ball, just like kind of creating like all of these different crazy things and all of these airships and the glider design, and he was just having a ball.
I love those gliders. I want one of them.
It was almost like separate planets every time we went somewhere new. Like the Pajit Kingdom is like a desert. The jungle looks like almost like an alien jungle. You have the Valley of the Wind. You never get to go to
Tomikia,
the asshole war country, but fuck them anyway. They don't deserve to live. I mean,
I have words for them.
Yeah, but every change of scenery felt vastly different, and it felt almost like Miyazaki was kind of flexing his creative muscles on the first movie, so I really, really like that.
Oh yeah, and I cannot wait to see him go full wild in some of the future ones. Like, I'm looking forward to Mononoke and Howl's Moving Castle. We're gonna see some...
God, Mononoke. I can't wait to see Mononoke after I've seen a couple of his earlier things, because I've only really seen Mononoke and Pocoroso. Like, that's really, like, the only two Miyazaki films that I had watched, like, straight through until we started this, so it'll be really cool to see everything.
So when we get to those later films, I actually want to throw some theories your way that I've been reading on the internet, because there's some interesting theories regarding these future movies, including Mononoke, that I think you're going to find really dark, but also really interesting.
God damn. Alright. I can't wait for that.
Alright. But let's go ahead and get a quick synopsis out of the way for those who may not have watched it along with us. That's fine, it happens. So, synopsis. Nausicaa Ripley, a princess, a scientist, and a bug tamer, is a triple threat in the Valley of the Wind, a place said to be safe from the world-ending toxic spores that threaten the whole planet. Said forest is also populated by giant-ass bug monsters, courtesy of, those old space movies with giant bugs in them. Their peaceful world ends when a fleet of ships from the kingdom of Tolmekia arrives bringing their shittiest army to their doorsteps. They take over the valley, kidnap Nausicaa and some hostages, and they plan to revive a super weapon that goes, well, about as well as you'd expect. On the way back to their homeland, it is revealed that their army is funded with monopoly money since they can't seem to aim for shit and their ships are made of papier-mâché, leaving them crashed in a toxic jungle. Nausicaa commandeers a small ship saving herself, her friend, and the evil queen. They make a safe descent into the hostile jungle, where she splits off to find the crashed gunner who took down the fleet in the first place. And she and the gunner, Asbel, or is it Asbel? I think it's Asbel, fall into a spore-free cave where she realizes the world isn't without hope, and she plans to make it back to the valley. The rest of the hostages manage to return to the valley to inform Lord Yupa, played by Patrick Stewart, what happened. He leads a search to retrieve the princess while the evil queen escapes to get more aggressive with the locals. Asbel and Nausicaa Asbel takes Nausicaa back to his homeland to show him what the Tolmekians had done to his home and to his home to see what it's been destroyed. I typed that up very poorly. The Fire Lord of Pajit argues that Nausicaa is clearly wrong, so he locks her in the brig. The people of Pajit help her escape just as shit is going down. Lord Yupa finds her during its escape, and they race back to the valley, where a stampede of Ohm are ready to kill everything in their path. Some Pajit have enraged them by injuring and taking away a baby Ohm. During all of this, the wind in the valley has stopped blowing. That's important. Don't forget that.
That's super important.
The evil queen attempts to fight them with Meltman and his power to melt. But all fails in the long run. Nausicaa saves the baby and is trampled by the stampede. All's thought lost until the Ohm eventually stop. They use PG tentacles to revive her and change her clothes, allowing an age-old prophecy of the wind returning to the valley to come true. The people of the valley are spared and proceed to live the rest of their lives in peace with the bugs of the jungle. So Ryan, what'd you think of that movie now? Good stuff, right?
I really liked it. I mean, although instantly, as soon as you hear the prophecy of the man in blue who will come and bring light back to the world after 1,000 years of darkness in a field of gold, I'm like, so that's Nausicaa. Like, literally, as soon as I heard it, was just like, that's Nausicaa. It's literally she is literally the only character who's constantly wearing blue the entire fucking movie. Nobody said anything? Nobody said anything. It's only until she changed to a different blue dress and was in the midst of all the Ohm tentacles that they were like, oh shit, she always wears blue. Yeah, that's her. I think she's the she's the prophecy. Yeah.
See, that's what I want to turn to somebody and be like, does anyone else in this village wear blue? I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, seriously. Like, it is noticeable. I think the only time she isn't wearing blue is when she swaps clothes with that handmaiden from Pajit to leave. I think that's the only time she's not wearing blue in the whole movie.
Yeah, I could see that, and I gotta say that scene where she actually does make the escape from the Pajit ship, that was pretty cool. How everyone was willing to band together with her like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I it was good to see. It was good to see like the women and children like, oh my god, I am so sorry for what our country has done to you. Like, literally, like, this poor fucking valley that was literally just sitting there minding its own business, and then the rest of the armies of the world decided to come fuck them over.
It sounds super familiar.
Boy, but I was glad to at least see somebody say, we're really sorry this is happening. This absolutely does not deserve to be happening to you. We're sorry. Everybody else was just like, oh, our ship crash landed there? Well, let's go take their shit.
So I want to touch on the animation of this movie real quick. So,
yes,
as I said before, it's aged a little bit, no question. But looking at it, though, it reminds me of the old school. Like, I think the best comparison I have for it is the old Transformers from the 80s movie. That one was really good, and it kind of has that same, still smooth, but you can still see a lot of the old school style of animation in there. And I guess my first question I want to throw your way, Ryan, is how well do you think this movie's aged, and do you think that what it's trying to convey is still relevant to a modern audience?
I definitely think that... So I definitely agree with you that the animation in and of itself is showing its age. Not that the animation is bad by any means,
but
you can definitely see that it's an older anime. But I think Miyazaki's strength is his ability to convey plots and essentially stories that are in and of itself timeless. So in this movie, you have this idea of how essentially mankind's like lust for power in whichever form it takes, whether or not people are trying to be preemptive and say, oh, well, we have to get this power so that nobody else can use it against us, or we have to get this power because these other assholes are destroying everything, and so we have to be powerful enough to destroy them. It, like, the overarching story is that all of this rush for power is what's killing the land, and if we were to come together from a place of healing and wanting to care for one another, that's truly how we make the world a better place and how we learn to live in harmony with the planet rather than destroying it, which is a timeless message. So yes, you could watch this movie 50 years from now and it would still be relevant. Definitely.
Excellent. I gotta agree. I think that most of the messages you get in the Miyazaki films are going to end up being timeless when you look back at them. I mean, we saw Grave of Fireflies last last recording, and that still is relevant. This movie is more on the positive environmentalist side of messaging, and I think you get a lot more of those with the Miyazaki films than with any other messages, but it's still relevant, it's still important. Just because we can attain great power, just because we can industrialize and do these big things, doesn't mean we should, because there's still a world we have to respect and nature we have to keep in check, because we can't just do insane things and let the world just fall away and go to ruin. That's part of the message here, I would say. So yeah, I would say that a lot of that is incredibly relevant. And like I said, in the animation, I think we're all both the same age. It's age, but I'm not gonna lie, I really do actually like this old school animation quite a bit. So it's tickling the nostalgia bone pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
How do you feel about Nausicaa as a protagonist? I know you said she's a cinnamon roll, but I want to know what you think about her. Like, is she a good character? Is she a good protagonist? Does she command the scene really well? Like, what do you think?
I've never seen a protagonist so committed to pacifism. I've never seen a protagonist in an anime so committed to pacifism. Like, you only see Nausicaa snap one time, and it's when they break in and kill her father. Like, literally, no justification, no nothing, just showed up, tanks, armored guys, waltzed up into the castle, murdered the king without saying shit. And Nausicaa lost it and started killing everybody. It was so cathartic when I was with her. But then she like kind of remembers herself and she works towards the protection of her people and the protection of humanity overall, which is so I love it. I'm not certain how much I almost said I'm not certain how believable it is, but that's not quite right because I definitely believed that was Nausicaa's character. It was just so pacifistic.
I think there are certain elements where it does feel a bit much. Like I think during some of the flashbacks, I feel like she might have been a bit much. But so fun little fact here, Ryan. So you know me. You've known me for a few years now. But I bet you didn't know that I have actually never been in a fight of any kind before. Like, never been I've been in arguments, but I've never been, like, in a fist fight or drawn in any kind of, like, physical, altercation, I guess it would be. Largely because I don't like hurting people. I don't like to fight people, and I do my best to stay out of the situation as best I can. And, I would say the pacifism Nausicaa's bringing might be portrayed a little extreme, but I think that it's definitely a believable trait overall, and it definitely fits in with the more bookish, scientific character she's portrayed as with some of these extra scenes we get in this cut, where you see her trying to rebuild these plants with her little secret garden / lab, where she's learning about how the underground caves are, like, safe, and learning how that works. So she's a very intelligent, very cerebral, not cerebral, but very, I guess, like I said, science-oriented character. So the pacifism really does kind of fit that mold, I think. And to add to that, she is not the most pacifist character I've ever seen. There's actually one character I can think of who may be able to take that crown from her, and that is the Avatar himself, since he went out of his way to find a peaceful solution to defeat the Fire Lord, after all. I'm just saying, it's not unheard of.
Look, I'm not gonna debate that Aang is definitely up there in terms of pacifism, but when push came to shove, Aang was willing to wreck some people. Nausicaa fought one time and then did everything in her power to never fight again.
True.
And I respect it. I definitely respect that. So, I would definitely say Nausicaa takes it over Aang. If we're talking about the Pacifism Awards of 2018, then yeah, it's Nausicaa.
That's fair. I'm just saying that she's not the only pacifist out there, and there's other great examples of it too. So
definitely, you're right. All right, so now that we've talked about characters that we love, can we talk about characters that we fucking hate?
Oh, do you mean the Tomikians? I have a question for that, actually. So here's a question, Ryan. Why do you think the Tomikians are such a shit army?
God, they're just shit people. They're all horrible. They're all god awful. I could appreciate the excuse me. I could appreciate the character development that we were getting with Kushina. Am I saying her name right?
That was the second in command, correct?
So Kushina is the golden armored woman.
Oh, okay.
Right, who was voiced by Uma Thurman, and I swear every time I watch these, I keep forgetting that they get like really good English actors to do the American voice, the English voices.
I cannot talk about Castle the Sky about that.
I instinctively watch it in Japanese with the sub, and then I'm at the end and it's like, oh, the king is voiced by Patrick Stewart. I'm like, what the fuck? Wait, what? Damn it! Lord Mito was voiced by Edward James Olmos. God damn it! I missed all of this.
Yeah, I'm watching... I think I may have mentioned it when we were recording last time, but I'm watching it in the dub version, just so that way we don't have to worry about subtitles on our side. Plus, I want myself and Amanda to be able to enjoy the artwork as well as the animation and not focus on reading a bunch of shit. So that's
real. That's real. I personally enjoy just reading subtitles, like, regardless. But so it's always, if there is a subtitle version, I'm gonna look for it. But I keep forgetting that the English actors are really good too. So yeah, that's my fault. But back to Kushina. I really enjoyed getting more of her character arc, and I think she did a better job of representing the Tolmekian point of view, where it was mostly they're coming from the standpoint of, like, everything that humanity's lost and the pain and rage that accompanies that loss. So, like, as herself as a character who is disabled and has lost an arm to the insects
and a couple legs,
and a couple legs. Wait, was it confirmed that she lost her legs?
Well, when you see her out of the full armor, you see her in just the leggings and in the one arm. I cannot imagine you just have the two. I at least one of the legs. I'm assuming both, though.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, unless their prosthetic game is, like, god tier in this particular land.
Which
I thought she was just rocking armor on her legs.
Well, there is a line in the English dub. I don't know if there's one in the Japanese version, but in the English dub, she does mention that when they ask her about her one arm missing, she's like, "Yeah, whatever man I'll marry will be surprised with what else is there."
Oh, you're right. You know what? You're right. You are right. I have forgotten about that line. You are correct. Okay, so yeah, it's more than likely that at least one of her legs is gone too. But she lost so much, and she's reacting to that with pain and rage. And from that place, literally anything is excusable as long as it gets you to the end goal of destroying the people that have taken all of this away from you. Which is an ugly facet of humanity, but it's definitely a realistic one.
It's definitely a darker, more spiteful look at humanity, I would say, yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, I hated the Tolmekians in general because 99.8% of them were all, "Oh, we're just gonna take your shit. We're in big armor. Fuck you." But the leader actually gave them some depth. So I was like, "You're still assholes, but I get it."
I like the one line too by her second in command when they're walking around in the lab, when they're building the new giant warrior thing. Mm-hmm. He drops a subtle line in there that hints that he's gonna get his in the end. And are you self-aware or are you just fucking so self-hating right now? I can't tell. It's really hard to tell right now.
So I think I know where you're referencing, and it's interesting because in the sub, I believe the line you're referring to, he says, "I'm either on the path to I'm either on the path to fortune or the path to damnation," or something like that.
A very similar line, but yes.
Yeah. So it's just it's almost like
I feel like he's self-aware. I really do.
I feel like he definitely is self-aware because at that point he doesn't know if Kushina is alive or dead, and if she's dead, then it means that he's actually in command of the army, and he's like, "Oh, so I might actually have a chance to get ahead in this or die trying," which to some people is definitely a thing, regardless of who you have to screw over. If you get yours in the end, then it's cool. So I think there was definitely an aspect of self-awareness in that line, surely.
Oh yeah. I want to mention real quick the Tolmekians' airships. What the fuck happened? One gunner took them all out without any effort really at all.
That was blowing my mind. They had these fucking flying fortresses. This dude comes in a fighter jet, makes one pass, gone, instant. I'm like, damn. Either their smaller, faster ships are packing a lot more firepower, or you guys are weak as hell and just wear a lot of big armor to look tough.
I actually said that during the viewing, and I mentioned it to Amanda, and then literally 2 seconds later, one of the hostages on the ship, I think it was Mito, turns to one of the guys, one of the Tomikis, and says, your ships are in pretty bad shape, aren't they? And I'm like, oh, okay, so he's making it clear, the ships are in really crap shape. What the hell happened to this army?
Yeah, which is another believable aspect of humanity, like the idea that you put on the biggest airs and like puff yourself up the biggest when you're weak, like in an attempt to like kind of scare people off before they try you. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, no, that's definitely a big aspect of the Tolmekians, I think.
It's like taking to Twitter and saying you have the biggest button.
Yep. That's a little too realistic for my anime there.
A little too real.
It's a little too real.
Okay, so tangentially related to the Tolmekians, were you expecting anything more from the giant warrior in that last scene where it shows up?
To be honest, I didn't know what to expect, period, from the giant warrior. I knew it was going to be bad, and I'm glad that it kind of fell apart.
Oh yeah, I mean, visually it was stunning. I loved how it fell apart and melted on her. That was cool.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I'm still not entirely sure where the giant warriors come into play, like with the story of the world.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the world building makes a lot of sense. You know, essentially humanity screwed over the earth and poison the majority of the topsoil. These fucking 7 giant men of fire from God knows where show up and fucking raise like the majority of humanity to the ground. These jungles start springing up from that as a result, or from the Ohm or whichever. And it's toxic to humans, but only because of the poison that they cast into the earth. But the jungles themselves are almost acting like scabs so that the planet can heal itself, which I thought was a fucking phenomenal twist on the story. But I still don't know where the Men of Fire show up. I don't know where the giant warriors come from. What?
So I'm looking at the wiki right now to kind of get an idea of where they came from. And let's see, the history. God warriors were important during the 7 Days Fire, in which they likely destroyed most of the world in the past. They eventually broke down or were destroyed by the end of the ceramic era. They seem extinct. By Nausicaa's time, the metal yada 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 are a common sight across the landscape. However, a live god warrior is discovered by the Pajit, yada yada. So it doesn't really give an origin as to where they're supposed to come from.
You know what I was almost expecting, but it didn't like fully form into my mind.
Okay.
I was kind of expecting the giant warriors to be like the last super weapon created by humanity.
I could believe that. That makes sense.
That's why I was kind of waiting for that to happen. Well, and like for that to have been revealed, but it didn't really. I was just like, yeah, alright.
Well, so a theme running through a lot of the Studio Ghibli films, and we'll see it in Castle Sky a little bit, is that super weapons, the man-made super weapons, don't always tend to work out well for the humans.
Yep.
And so I'm willing to bet that these warriors were definitely made by humans during some kind of war leading to that 7 Days Fire and the situation that we're in the movie now. So I could believe that. I could follow that. Okay, so a few more questions before we move on to our next segment. So, Ryan, I sent you in Skype a list of the various cuts that were made in the original Warriors of the Wind release. So I guess my question is, do you feel any of the cuts, if you had a chance to look at it yet, do you feel any of these cuts were at all appropriate, or do you think they all needed to have been in the movie the whole time?
Let me take a look real fast.
One I'll point out, too, while you're reading is, let's see, I remember where it is. So when Nausicaa departs from with the Tolmekians, the children in the valley give her this little gift. And it kind of does characterize her a little bit, with her being friendly to them and everything. It makes the villains look more villainous, because like, hurry the fuck up and shit. But it's a scene you could have easily dropped, because it took up airtime, and you didn't really need that 3 minutes of, oh, hey, bye, kids. We'll never see you in the movie again, but later.
Yeah, that's so some of these that I'm seeing, they definitely do a lot to endear you to Nausicaa and to really make it like, hey, I mean, this girl is literally the best person on the planet. Like, literally everybody that knows her is just like, oh my god, the princess is the best person ever. And I love it. It absolutely feels great and adds to the movie. But it's not essential. So like her returning to the Valley of the Wind and like Yupa being asked to be the godfather of a newborn girl, or like I hope she becomes as strong as the princess. Like, I mean, that's like some of those things, like, they add to it definitely, but they're not like necessary. Now, like, let's see here. Now, Nausicaa remembering an episode from her childhood in which she attempted to protect a baby Ohm from the village leaders, I definitely think that's essential because it shows her not in blue. That's like one of the other rare moments that she's not in blue, but in a field of gold, protecting a baby Ohm. It's like it's the past, but foreshadowing the future of the movie and the prophecy. It just adds more to the prophecy undercurrent, in which everybody who's paying attention to this movie is like, yeah, no, Nausicaa is the prophesized person in blue. They just keep fucking up the gender. So yeah.
Another one I'm seeing here that definitely needed to stay in. While Kushana and Kurotawa, he's the second in command for those listening, wait for the Pajit assault, they release Goal and the other Valley hostages, and this is when Obaba discovers the wind has ceased blowing. That seems really relevant for the theme of the film.
Yeah, seriously. like the wind not like ceasing to blow is huge. And it also
it's part of the title of the film.
Yeah. And it also gives Kushana more character development. It shows how intrigued she is by Nausicaa, because once she does that, like, as she's doing that, she's sitting there like, I want to wait for her airship. I want to see if she was able to make it out of the heart of the jungle. She intrigues me. Like if she makes it, I feel like I want to get to know her. It's just like this super battle-hardened woman who's like chosen the bloody path and like will give anything for revenge is slowly being convinced that there's a better way by this little girl who wants nothing more than to save everybody. I think that's very important to her character development.
I almost kind of wish she had stuck to that that mentality, because it would have made her character a little bit more redeemable, in my opinion. And I wish the second in command had been the one that got the gold, the giant warrior. That would have made a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, I do believe. I believe that. Like, in the end, there was literally nothing redeemable about the Tomekians. Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. Even as the anime is ending, even as the movie is ending, and we've got this beautiful music playing in the background, all you see is the Tomekians went back home. They fucked off because fuck them. Why are they even here in the first place?
Alright, I got a couple more here.
Ugh.
So Ryan, what book design really stuck out to you the most, and which one did you really enjoy the most?
Oof.
I know my answer. I'm gonna go real quick.
Oof. Yeah.
So during the moment when she's attempting to save Asbel from his death, there's that giant-ass flying, like, dragonfly.
So
that was
dragonfly
so
tapeworm type nonsense.
That was fucking epic. And it animated so well. It was perfect. I loved it.
It was super good. No lie, that was super good. Okay. Since you took the one that I was also trying to think about, I will go with the second pick that was also fighting it, and it's going to be obvious, but I really love the design of the Ohm.
They're really good.
They're really, really interesting. Like, you can tell that there is something, like, bordering on supernatural about them. And I really love the sitar music that shows up literally every time they just appear. I love that they're called ohms, first of all, which signify the universe. I love the sitar music that shows up every time they're there. I just love them. They're just so cool. It's almost like they represent the cosmic balancing of the scales. Like, humanity has thrown things so far out of whack that the cosmos literally had to reach out and say, hey, stop. So, yeah.
Yeah, they did a lot of good work with the creature design. I'd love to see, not necessarily a sequel, but I'd love to see just, like, more of these monsters and shit. But we'll see more creatures of unique designs in future films, so I'm hoping that itch will get scratched pretty soon. I'm loving it, though.
Definitely. I mean, like I said earlier, I feel like Miyazaki, like if this is the first one, which I was unaware of until you told me, but if this is the first film for Studio Ghibli, before it was even Studio Ghibli, then I definitely feel that Miyazaki was just kind of stretching and flexing his creativity muscles and just wanted to throw a bunch of shit out there. So you could tell he was having a blast just creating these giant-ass bugs that represent the forest that is actually healing the planet, but seems deadly at first. It's really cool.
Fun fact for you, actually, Ryan, if you're interested. Did you know this movie was based on a manga?
Really?
Yeah, there's actually a Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind manga you should definitely check out, because I know you're a manga reader as well. I thought maybe you'd be interested in checking it out.
Oh, cool.
It's obviously old. It's obviously old, but it's definitely got a lot of the stuff we all know and love from this movie. So definitely something worth checking out if anyone else out there is interested.
Do you know if the story continues past this, or if it just in general tells the story of the movie?
I know the story the movie is told. I don't know if there's stuff that comes before or after it, though. I haven't actually had a chance to read it myself. I just know it exists, and I have to actually go look for it now.
Okay, alright. Yeah, I'll definitely keep my eye out for that one.
And then final question in the discussion section. Did you find the music's tone at odds with the film at certain points? I kind of did a little bit. It was weird.
I'm not recalling any music choices that kind of took me out of the moment. But what do you have?
So there were a couple moments where the music kind of got a more faster, action-y kind of pace. But they were during scenes where things were kind of, like, mellowing out and calm, and you were just, like, looking over a vista. I think an example of, and I don't remember for sure, but I think when you first see the Pajit village, you do see a little bit more of a like, faster-paced song going on, but you're just looking over a dead village, and it's like, why is the music suddenly getting all amped up? This seems like a moment where you'd play, like, a fucking, not Drain Lake, but, Majula kind of theme, very slow and somber kind of deal. I don't know, but it happened a couple points. I was just kind of thrown off by it.
I can understand the music choice for like the dead village of Pajit, because like they were expecting to get there and see a normal village, but the fact that like everything is like dead and burned really signifies that there's something drastically wrong. And that it's not just somber, like they were trying to beat the clock and they got there too late. It's like they were going there and surprise, everybody's dead. So something's really, really wrong. And I think it also matched with the tone of once they actually hooked up with the guys from Pajit and realized that the Pajit are also dickheads who are deciding to like throw the planet's natural defenses at anybody who gets in their way, including this poor fucking village that just wanted to live with the wind. God damn it. So yeah, I think that made sense to me. That's why it didn't throw it off for me, because it signified that there's something drastically wrong happening.
I wish I had better examples, but I can't think off the top of my head. I know there's just moments, though, where I expected there to be, like, quiet, somber, like, looking over shit, and it ended up being, like just some kind of sick beats. I'm like, okay, this is a little out of place.
Sick beats?
Get those sick beats dropping. Alright, so, Max isn't here, so I don't want to throw a trivia game at you this week, Ryan. Instead, I have one, I guess you could call it a discussion question to throw your way, and that is, this. What anime, you can name more than one if you like, has stuck with you the most and has the deepest meaning for you? And what is that meaning and why? It's a bulky question, but I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Ooh, man. Man, you hit me with the big question. Do you have an answer prepared?
So I'm torn
to
between.
think on this for a second.
I'm torn between two because it really depends if you consider one of them to even be an anime or not. I do, but there are other people who argue otherwise. So for the one that's actually an anime, 100%, no one can argue it. I'm going to say Naruto, and I know I'm going to get some cringy looks coming my way.
What?
Hear me out. Going off the first half of Naruto, ignoring Shippuden, if you stick to just like the first few arcs, where you're learning about the village, you're learning about these kids, you're seeing Naruto come into his reasoning for why he wants to be a shinobi, and all these other kids who are wanting showing up and giving their reasons. You have characters like Rock Lee, you have characters like Naruto, who are being told they're shit and they can't do anything, and they're constantly struggling against the society to show that they can do what they want to do. They can fulfill their dreams and achieve their goals, despite what everyone tells them. I find it to be just a very heartwarming message that no matter what the world tells you, if you keep pushing yourself and keep working hard to get what you want, you can eventually accomplish what you want to do. Obviously, within reason, of course. You can't fly like Superman if you just try. It's beyond reason. But in this case, Naruto can become Hokage because he's working to get the respect of the village. Lee can become a adequate shinobi because he's going to master taijutsu. And you have all these other kids who have these similar things going on. It's just a very refreshing, heartwarming thing to kind of look at when you go back to the older stuff. Newer stuff doesn't quite hold up that well by comparison.
Okay. All right. That's a good answer. I like that. You said you had another one?
Yep. The other one is sort of cheaty, but again, Last Airbender. There is literally nothing you could take away from this show that's a bad lesson. There's so many good lessons from this show, from just the tolerance of like different beliefs and cultures to just finding peaceful solutions to things. There's just so much in there. I could go on all day about just Avatar itself, so I'm going to keep that one super brief.
Def. No. I wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly agree. So when I think of anime that's really stuck with me, aside from the holy shit that was awesome and remember the time that guy did this and it was boss, aside from that, the really deep stuff, if I had to pick one that's really stuck with me, I would say Full Metal Alchemist.
That's very fair.
Like, the reason behind that is aside from the numerous lessons that it had to impart, the biggest ones that I thought were family and like sticking with your family and being there for them, and also it was one of the few anime that I saw tackle the idea of personal responsibility, because it starts off with your two protagonists, like with the best of intentions, doing something terribly wrong, and the entire rest of the anime is them owning up for it and trying to make it right. Like at the end of it, Ed isn't even trying to get his leg back because he's like, no, I lost that because I delved into the forbidden shit, but I just need to make sure my brother has his body back because he gave up too much for this. He gave up too much for my mistake. And so, like, the idea of them taking personal responsibility and having that be a core tenet of an anime, I think it was fantastic. Definitely.
Oh yeah, no, I would definitely say you hit the money on that one for sure. But yeah, that's gonna be our I guess you can call that bonus discussion question. I'm not sure what we'd call that little bit there, but I'll throw those in every time when we randomly whenever we don't have like a trivia or something going on. I'm trying to vary it up a little bit, vary that formula. So if you guys have questions out there that you want to throw our way that you're curious about, similar to that one, please go ahead and send them to our mailbag segment, which is going to be evacstation@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us on Tumblr, Twitter, or Facebook, and leave comments there as well. We'd love to answer any questions you have in regards to anime in general, Studio Ghibli, specific characters or movies, whatever you want to do. And we'll try to answer them as best we can in the episodes, or even we might even do like an appendix episode at the end that kind of just answers all the questions we may or may not get by that point. Who knows? We'll see. So Ryan, next episode, looks like you and I are going to be discussing Castle in the Sky.
Man, this is so cute. It was so cute.
Before we close out, though, let's give our final thoughts on Nausicaa Valley of the Wind. Ryan, how would you rank or rate or recommend this movie?
I think I thought it was fantastic. If we're doing the kind of like platinum to bronze ranking system that we've been doing for the other ones that we've been working on, I would give this a gold. I would say it's definitely amazing. And if you've seen it when you were really, really young, I can absolutely understand why it would be like one of your childhood favorites, and like, and would definitely have like that added nostalgia factor. It's just like, oh yeah, it's my favorite Miyazaki film because I saw it when I was 5 and it was amazing. Definitely. That being said, I would not say that it's like an end-all classic that literally everyone has to see and will be made better for seeing it. I think it's fantastic, and definitely show it to your kids. But it's not required viewing to make you a better person, I would say.
Yeah. I would say it tickles all the right nostalgia bones for me, but it's definitely still in the high silver, medium gold level.
Yeah.
Definitely in that range. It's good, worth checking out, but I would say it's not going to make you a worse person for never having seen it.
Yeah, definitely.
So everyone, thank you for watching, and remember to check us out on social media platforms, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, our Patreon. You can donate there to help keep this show running. We'd appreciate that. And of course, our email. Ryan, what is that email again?
That is evacstation@gmail.com.
And if you would like to help us out with any of that stuff, please sure to email us, comment, donate, all that stuff. Next time is Castle in the Sky, and we'll see you after the credits.
Bye!